I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is I'm Not Gonna Hold You, Season 3, Episode 8, man. It is Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. Yes, it is November already. We are pretty much done with this fucking year, man. It's been a long year. Actually, it's been a long but short year. Been a very productive year for your boy. But we are back after a 2 week hiatus. I thank everybody for all the birthday wishes last week. I am old, 34 years old. It's a blessing to be 34 years old. A lot of people from where I come from don't make 34 years old, so I'm blessed to be still here, kicking and and living. So I appreciate all the love and be there wishes I got last week, man. Also, want to take this time to say RIP to Takeoff from the Migos, man. Real tragic loss this week, man. So prayers up for Offset, Quavo, the whole entire family, all his family members, all his friends, anybody who's close to him, man. Keep him in your prayers. Um, got a lot of stuff to get into, but let's get into our promo to start. Obviously, you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarbChairScott. You can click on both. I might give me one of them little fake blue checks soon. I'm not too sure, but follow me on both on Instagram and Twitter. Follow this great media network that you're watching this on right now, H&B Media TV on Twitter. Follow them on Instagram at H&B Media over there also. And then follow the Barbers Chair Network at Barbers Chair Net on Twitter and Instagram. Visit the bcnet.com. We got the Barbers Chair shop coming soon. I know I've been saying that for a while, but it really is coming soon. We just got a lot of shit going on, but it is coming real soon. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. Get all the different packages, man. $5 package of summer sessions, $10 all access package. You got your 79th and Hallis package. So look out for all of that, man. We appreciate everybody who's been subscribing. We got a new episode of Summer Sessions out right now. Me, Pat Vito, my homie Merk. This week we talk about a lot of stuff, so check all of that shit out, man. And I'm about to, we should be still on the regular schedule for the rest of the year. I'm going to be doing a lot of traveling, so it might be an episode or two we miss over the next 2 months, but not too bad. I'm gonna, still do the show on time, even though I'm going to be moving around the rest of the year doing this bear shit. But let's get into it, man. With my sound off, man, we're going to talk about a very wild week in Chicago sports, man. We got a lot of things going on. Bulls got 2 wins this week. Zach LaVine looking good. His first back-to-back he's played this season. The Chicago Bears have been the talk of the city this week, trading away veteran Robert Quinn last week to the Philadelphia Eagles for a 4th-round pick. And then this week, the news that we told y'all was going to happen on 79th and Hallis, the #1 Bears podcast out there here on the Barbers Chair Network. Me and my brother Foles, we told y'all it was going to happen. We've been saying this since August, that it was going to happen, and Roquan Smith was going to get traded. He did get traded to the Baltimore Ravens for a 2nd-round pick and a 5th-round pick. And when that trade happened, my esteemed co-host, brother, and co-founder of this company, Flo, said, my sources are telling me that the Bears are not done. And his sources were correct, because the very next day, Ryan Poles swung again, this time bringing in talent as he traded for wide receiver Chase Claypool from the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 2nd-round draft pick. I think that's an amazing trade. Also, we've had the White Sox have hired a new manager, man. White Sox have hired a new manager, Pedro Grifol. He has been announced today from the media as the new manager of the Chicago White Sox. I'm going to get into that in just a second, but back to the Bears real quick. I love everything that Ryan Poles has done over the last, 7 to 10 days. Now, last time I was on this show, and on a couple 79th House episodes, I was just like, what the fuck is the plan? Like, we all know the Bears are going to be ass this year. That wasn't a surprise. But it's like, what's the plan? What are we doing to put Justin in the best position to go out there and win? Like, remember we was talking about, why aren't you running RPOs? Why aren't you doing designated runs? Why aren't you moving the offensive line around? Because it's not that good to put your quarterback in better positions, especially if that brutal loss to a team that's god awful, which is the Washington Commanders. And over that time, It's like something clicked in Luke Getzey and Matt Eberflus's head during the mini bye week that, you know what? Maybe we should do the simple shit. Maybe we should run RPOs. Maybe we should have more designated runs. Maybe we should move the offensive line around. You know what I'm saying? And I already say over the last month, we've seen a lot of great improvement from Justin. But these last 2 weeks have seen tremendous growth from Justin, tremendous growth from the offense. They've scored 30 points in back-to-back weeks. I don't give a damn that they lost both of those. I mean, not both. They like won on Monday Night Football. I don't give a damn that they lost by 20 to the Dallas Cowboys. I've never seen a game where the Bears got their ass whooped and I was smiling like an idiot. I was very pleased with what I saw. It's all about the offense. It's all about Justin Fields. And it's like they finally clicking. It's finally doing something and using this boy's speed. He runs a fucking 4.4. You're going to have to play him like a Lamar Jackson this year until Ryan Poles is able to build up that offensive line this offseason. And so what was the number one thing we were saying? Like how many times we've seen, not just this season, but more specifically last month, where Justin's making great throws, but wide receivers aren't catching the ball. Justin was robbed of glory 2 weeks in a row. And the Minnesota game where they were down 20, but they came back and took the lead. And then the defense gave up another touchdown, and Justin's driving down the field, and the receiver literally, number 17, I forgot buddy's name, but he got cut. Literally had the ball stripped from him. When all he could have did was been out of bounds, and it would have been a first down into the red zone, and the Bears could have scored and won that game. Robbed of glory. The very next week against the Commanders, Justin Fields threw 2 game-winning touchdown passes, 2, but both dropped by Dante Pettis, and the other one, Darnell Mooney, couldn't get his foot into the actual plane. We was like, who's a wide receiver? And they finally went out there and got him, man. Chase Claypool. Now, this is a situation for all my people who actually watch ball, and I'm talking to y'all because a lot of people out there just watch highlights and they look at stats. And if you look at the stats, you'd be like, okay, he's only got 40-something catches with 300 yards this year. You got to look at these situations. They're not using them in the right situations, and look who the fuck is throwing him the football. If you're a Bears fan, you know about Mitchell David Trubisky. Kenny Pickens is not good. These are bad quarterbacks who are not even getting him the football. This is a guy who had an amazing rookie season, had a pretty good season last year with the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger. That wasn't even the Big Ben that we know him to be. And I'm not talking about off the field. I'm talking on the field. The Big Ben that we know him to be is accurate, deep ball thrower. And he was able to do these things with Ben Roethlisberger. This is probably the best, the most talented. And I'm not saying that obviously Justin Fields is not better than prime Ben Roethlisberger. I am not saying that whatsoever. Let's get that very clear. But the last 2 years of Ben Roethlisberger's career where he was just a corpse, if we're going off that in this time in the NFL, this is the most talented quarterback that he's playing with. And he's a big body. He's a threat. And it's going to help him right away. And now you've got a situation where now you've got a wide receiver room that you can work with. Now this helps Darnell Mooney so fucking much. Darnell Mooney was getting number one wide receiver treatment from these defenses because he was the only guy who was capable of catching the ball consistently on this team. Now, as I've said, like me and my brother have said many times, Darnell Mooney is not a number one receiver. On a championship team, Darnell Mooney is probably a 3. At his peak, he's a 2. So now you bring him into this situation where he can be more on the slide. He's not going to get the same attention because Chase Claypool is going to get that attention. He's a bigger body. He's a deep threat. Chase Claypool makes amazing catches. And now we've been seeing little stuff from N'Keal Harry over these last 3 weeks. So now you bringing that in and you got a 3 of Claypool, Mooney, and Harry. That's something that's workable for these next 9 games. Yes, the defense is probably going to be worse because you miss a guy like Roquan Smith. And, I love Roquan, cool dude. I've never had a problem with Roquan. Every time I see him in the facility, he was cool with me. I've talked to him a couple times. I have no love for Roquan. I have a bunch of love for Roquan. Having said that, he got to cut the shit. Talking about he wasn't trying to get his way out of Chicago. And he was surprised that he was traded. This is a man who, before the first preseason game in August, he demanded a trade. I was at training camp. I didn't see him on the field. Sometimes he was, away from the team in the facility. So this is stuff that he wanted. I don't know why he's surprised now. And as far as the compensation, I know a lot of Bears fans, not a lot, but it was a decent amount of Bears fans, and even some national media people who think that a second round draft pick is a big deal. This is why it's not a big deal. Number one, it's funny to me because for the first 7 weeks of the season, all we heard is Ryan Poles isn't helping his isn't helping his young quarterback. Get us some help. Who the hell is Dante Pettis? Who the hell are these guys he's throwing the ball to? But when he gets some help, now you're talking about it's too much. Well, the problem here is this. The Bears have 2 first-round picks. So they traded one of the other first-round picks. Second-round picks. They still have another second rounder. And you all know the Bears were going to draft a wide receiver in the second round any damn way. And yes, I understand that, rookie wide receiver could come out and make an immediate impact. He could. But everybody's not going to be Jamar Chase. Everybody's not going to be Justin Jefferson where they just jump off the page right away. It might take time. So I'd rather go with a guy who shows you what he can do when he's a focus of an offense than an unproven guy. And it's also, even though the Bears have the most cap space in the NFL next offseason, the wide receiver free agent market is very lukewarm. It's actually mid and that's being nice. And Ryan Poles said that in his press conference that had a lot to do with his decision. So I don't give a damn about that second round draft pick they gave up because you still got another one. You have your first rounder this year, and you have 7 other picks. So I love it. I love exactly what Ryan Poles did. It was a great message that you're sending to your quarterback that we have faith in you. And now you can see this chemistry they can build over these last 9 games. And it's really about the offense taking another step. And that's really what it's all about for these next 9 games. And I'm excited to watch that. I won't be at the game this week, but I'll be back next week, and I'll be at every game for the rest of the season. So it's going to be interesting to see that growth between Justin Fields and Chase Claypool and just the offense in general. Now because it looks like you've got a little bit more weapons. So I'm excited to see that on the Bears side. Now with the White Sox, terrible season, 81-81. The definition of mediocre. When you're coming off a season where you won the AL Central, got smacked by the Houston Astros in the first round. And I'm not going to say it's the back-to-back playoff season because I don't count anything in sports that happened inside of a bubble. I don't give a damn about the White Sox making the playoffs in a bubble in 2020. That shit does not count to me. But you have a season where you won 90-plus games, went on the road, went the playoffs against the Astros and just got straight outclassed. You do all of that and just drop the ball this offseason by, wasting 2 years with Tony La Russa. And now you're hiring a guy, Pedro Grifol, and that's how you pronounce the last name, Grifol, who I'm just happy because he's from another organization. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all, act like I know much about dude. I watch a ton of fucking baseball. All I knew is he was a bench coach for the Royals. He was the catcher's coach when the Royals won the World Series in 2015, which is big because Salvi Perez is one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball, and that's something the White Sox also need help with. But I'm just happy that Rick Hahn was actually able to do his job and actually able to pick the guy that he wanted to pick, and it's outside of the organization. If you're not a White Sox fan, I'm going to tell you how big this is. This is the first White Sox hiring of a manager that does not have White Sox ties since 1997 when Jerry Manuel got hired. That is fucking ridiculous. So I'm just glad that he was outside of the organization. He's got great reviews from everybody that's worked with him. And from this press conference, now, winning the press conference doesn't mean shit. You still got to go out there and play. Rick Hahn still has to do his job with this roster. I get that. But I loved what I heard. Focusing on mixing analytics and also mixing fundamentals of the game. I always feel like it's a problem when you're too heavy in analytics in baseball. When you do the little Tampa Bay race shit that pisses me off. When you're doing a starter for the game. I don't like shit like that. Or, they're saying, well, this is a better stat. When you combine the two, that's good. So to hear that this team needs to be better defensively and to hold people accountable. Tony La Russa didn't hold anybody accountable, probably because he was asleep half the goddamn time. So just to hear things like that, it makes me feel good as a White Sox fan that maybe this is going in the right direction. And what made me feel even better was Rick Hahn was smiling. If anybody remembers the Tony La Russa press conference from 2 years ago, now granted, it was on Zoom because we were in the middle of quarantine and, we didn't have the in-front presence. But it looked like somebody had a gun to Rick Hahn's hand because we all know that's not the guy he wanted to hire. He wanted to hire A.J. Hinch, but he got a strong arm by the owner of the team, Jerry Reinsdorf. So you can tell this was actually a signing that Rick Hahn wanted, And now Rick Hahn says that a major problem that we had last year was players playing out of position. No shit. How many times have we said that over the last 2 seasons? Where you got your prize first baseman, Andrew Vaughn, trying to teach him how to play fucking left field. You got designated hitters in right field. You got just half-ass second baseman. So now that he's acknowledged that, now you have to go out there and do it. You have to do your job. I do think managers are important in baseball, and I think just watch the playoffs this year. I mean, to me, Dave Roberts single-handedly lost that series against the Padres for the Dodgers to me. So they definitely matter, but it matters more about the roster. And there's a lot of changes need to have on this roster. And for me to fully be back in with what the White Sox are selling me, I've got to see a major dramatic change this offseason in personnel on the field. But as far as today goes, I love what I heard from Pedro Grifol. I love what I heard from Rick Hahn. So maybe the action, maybe the words will, actually translate to good actions this offseason, man. So it was a longer sound off, but that's my sound off on a wild and crazy week in Chicago sports, man. So let's get into our first topic, man. NFL trade deadline, man. When is the NFL trade deadline been like the NBA? This is the first time we saw major move after major move happening. Matter of fact, 12 players were traded in 10 deals this season. I mean, this trade deadline, which is the most in NFL history. And this is something that I brought up on the show it might have been early in the end of last season, where I said that the biggest fear for the NBA was the NFL having an exciting offseason. Roger Goodell already stepped on Adam Silver's block with saying that we're going to start doing triple headers on Christmas every year starting this season by taking their block and doing that. But now the offseason is exciting. One thing about the NBA is it really never ends. You have the regular season, you have the playoffs, you have the finals. You probably get like a couple day rest, and it's the NBA draft. Then it's free agency. Then it's summer league. And before you know it, training camp is right around the horizon. The NFL is starting to become like that, where after the Super Bowl, you have the draft combine, and now the free agency is starting to pick up. The big free agency we had this year, with all these different wide receivers change. We saw a lot of big names: Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, guys like that moving around. And the season before that, Matthew Stafford moving over to the Rams. So we're starting to see that. But even the trade deadline hasn't been that. But this year, incredible trade deadline, a lot of big names. So I want to go over some of the 6 most notable trades to me. I'm gonna go with Nyheim Hines, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. He got traded to the Buffalo Bills for another running back, Zach Moss, in a conditional 6th round pick in the 2023 draft. I love this deal for the Bills. I don't understand it at all for the fucking Colts, especially as bad as their offense has been. As bad as their quarterback play has been. And I gotta say right here, I was wrong about Matt Ryan. Falcons fans, y'all was right. Y'all been killing mans for the last couple years. I didn't understand. I apologize. That man is ass. He's on the family man list. He's right there with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. He's on the family man list now, and he got to go. He was an MVP. I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Famer, but he'll be damn close. He's had a great career. This shit is over with, brother. So I didn't understand trading Nyheim Hines when you really need him to score points and be in that tandem with Jonathan Taylor. But this is going to be a great addition for an already stacked and offensively potent team in the Buffalo Bills. I love this deal for them. Number 5, this one surprised the fuck out of me. I don't hate it. Calvin Ridley, of course, we know Calvin Ridley got suspended for betting on his own team for a full year. Now, I'm not saying he shouldn't have been suspended, because he should have been suspended because you're breaking the rule. But it's kind of crazy to me that you have a guy who was inappropriate with women and Deshaun Watson, who only got 12 games. And we can go down a list of shit the NFL players have done with women and things of that nature. And they've got 6 games and shit like that. Like the fucking Ezekiel Elliott shit. But this nigga was just betting, and you suspend this nigga for a year. It doesn't add up. Anyway, he's suspended for a year. He still has to go through the reassignment phase where he can get cleared to play again. But Calvin Ridley has been traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars from the Atlanta Falcons. Now, here's the interesting thing about this draft. This is a very complicated, very complicated pick compensation here. So this is how it goes down. This trade can be worth at a maximum a 2023 fifth rounder, and a 2024 second rounder, if really is suspended through at least the 2022 season. Now, there's other conditions where if he plays, it trains into a different kind of draft pick. So really, this just really depends on whether or not Roger Goodell is going to let him play again. But honestly, I'm not mad at the deal for Jacksonville. Jacksonville's not going to win anything this year. They're probably not going to win anything next year. But people forget that Calvin Ridley is a really good football player. And I know a lot of Bears fans was like, well, I wish that the Bears would have gotten Calvin Ridley instead of Chase Claypool. Now, here's why I disagree. When Calvin Ridley is eligible to play football again, he's going to be damn near 30 years old. Chase Claypool was just turned 24. So you got a 5-year difference between the two. And also, we don't know how. I think Calvin Ridley just come back and be good, but I don't know. He ain't played football in the whole last year. And honestly, you're trying to help Justin right fucking now. So I feel like Chase Claypool is a guy who can come in and plug in and help him right now. So I'm not mad about that one like some Bears fans are. But I like this for Jacksonville because I do think it can pan out for him and give another weapon to Trevor Lawrence. Number 4, I hated this trade, and I hated it because trading in division is fucking nasty. Like I don't understand this trade whatsoever. Detroit Lions trade tight end TJ Hawkinson and 2 fourth-round picks in the 2023 draft to the Minnesota Vikings for a second round and for a second round pick in 2023 and a third rounder in 2024. I don't understand that. Number one, you're still giving up picks if you're Detroit, which makes no fucking sense. If you wanted to get rid of Hawkinson to get more picks, that's fine. Detroit sucks. Like I said they were, and I'm gonna get to that later in the show. But trading them in division, man, like what the fuck are we doing? Like we gotta have some morals here. Like that should be a federal crime to trade in division for a significant player. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, let's just throw him to the best team in the division right now. I don't get it, man. It's nasty and it should not be tolerated. Other draft picks should be taken away for foolishness like this, man. Third trade that really stood out to me. Bradley Chubb, great pass rusher for the Denver Broncos, has been traded. Bradley Chubb and a 2025 fifth rounder have been traded to the Miami Dolphins for a first rounder in this year's 2023 draft and a fourth rounder in the 2024 draft. And today it was just announced that Bradley Chubb has signed a 5-year, $110 million extension with the Miami Dolphins, so he's going to be there for the long term. I love this deal. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. Bradley Chubb is great. He's been one of the few things about that Denver Broncos team that's actually been good. And now you add another threat. And this is the thing about the NFL. When you have a young quarterback who is finally getting in his stride, like a Tua Tagovailoa. I probably pronounced his last name wrong like a motherfucker, but I keep hearing Rick Ross in my head when I hear his name. But when you have a guy like Tua and he's playing well, he's looking great, he's looking elite, and he's on a rookie contract, he's got a great wide receiver core. Really, he's got everything on the team that you want. Mike McDaniels looks like coach of the year right now. He's been amazing. He's been everything that these organizations have been looking for, hiring these young offensive gurus, and he's a black man. I know he doesn't look like it, but he's one of us. So you got to give some love to Mike McDaniel. But I love this trade because now you give him a pass rusher. What's the second most important thing in football after a franchise quarterback? That is an elite pass rusher. Those are the number 2 things. You need a quarterback who can throw, and you need a guy who can get to the quarterback. And I love this deal. And it's like Miami's going for it. Like, I know that the Bills are the juggernaut right now. I know that Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. But with this offense, and now you're adding Bradley Chubb to it, I love it. I think it's a good addition to this team, and the Dolphins are going to go right forward. Now, what I don't love is that his debut will be this Sunday against the Bears, and I hope Justin Fields stays alive because I can only imagine him trying to be guarded by this ridiculous offensive line with a guy like Bradley Chubb coming off the edge. Like, there was Justin survived Micah Parsons, thank God. Let's hope he survives Bradley Chubb on Sunday. I don't want to see my quarterback hurt, with 9 games to go, man. But I love that deal for Miami. Number 2 on my list, of course, the deal that I talked about in the rundown. Chase Claypool, the Chicago Bears for a second rounder, for all the reasons that I mentioned in the sound off. So I'm not gonna rant about that again. But I obviously love the deal. And then another notable deal here, Roquan Smith, which I talked about earlier. Roquan Smith to Baltimore for a second rounder, a fifth rounder, and also the Bears got linebacker AJ Klein back in that one. And I like it for Baltimore. I think Roquan fit in well with Baltimore. But Baltimore problem ain't defense. Never has been defense. They need a fucking wide receiver to give to Lamar Jackson. I don't know. Maybe they should have. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but that's not my problem. And also, now you got two guys who are going to be up for contract, who are going to be free agents at the end of the season. Lamar Jackson and Roquan Smith. And you only have one franchise tag, and both of these dudes have no fucking agents. So that ain't my problem anymore. But those are the 6 most notable trades of the 2022 NFL trade deadline, man. It's very exciting. And I hope this trend continues in the NFL, man. So let's go into my week 8 recap. Of course, I didn't preview anything last week because we weren't on the air, but this is just a couple stories that stood out to me as I was watching football last weekend. One observation I got here. The Detroit Lions fooled y'all. And this is why I say they fool y'all. Because there's a thing about television that's amazing. Documentary series, reality show series like Hard Knocks. You get invested in the team. You get invested in the player stories and the coaching. I know Dan Campbell is a real football guy. And that type of shit. Like, you know what? I think the Lions going to be good this year. So a lot of y'all out there saying, a lot of y'all's like, yeah, they're going to be better than a lot of. I wouldn't be shocked if they finish second in division. We are currently sitting here and these motherfuckers is 1-6. The defense, to say the defense is bad will be disrespectful to bad defenses. The offense has showed a little promise at the beginning of the season, hasn't really shown as much now. Jared Goff is back to being Jared Goff, and I don't know what exactly their game plan is just in general. I know Dan Campbell is cool. His job might be on the line now. And I told y'all, because it's the fucking Detroit Lions. Some teams are just born to be ass. That's just their goal line to be at. The Sacramento Kings is one of them. You're just supposed to be bad. That's what you were put on this earth for, to be bad. And the Detroit Lions was one of them. And I'm getting sick and tired of y'all gassing the Lions every time you think they finally got something going on. These motherfuckers suck. And they're going to continue to suck until we actually see significant change, and who the fuck knows when that's going to be. So, Detroit Lions fooled y'all. We talk about family, man. You know, we coming up on the holidays, man, where everybody's around their family. And I'm talking about real holidays, like Thanksgiving or Christmas. Not these little bullshit holidays that y'all be celebrating like fucking Halloween. I can't stand that fucking holiday. Like, I hate it. I hate it. Like, somebody asked me this weekend, how you a Scorpio and you ate Halloween? First of all, I don't know what the fuck that means to fucking begin with. Number two, I live in Los Angeles. People take this shit too damn far. I can understand if you're doing it for a day or two. I had to do this shit for a fucking week. And I'm tired of the shit, man. I'm talking about the real holidays. Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up. We Mariah Carey season, so you need to be around your family. And speaking of family, 2 gentlemen need to be around their family. But unfortunately, these 2 gentlemen don't like being around their family, or their family don't like them. And I'm talking about the GOAT, my boy, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady, and the dude I hate more than the devil himself, Aaron Rodgers. It's a wrap. It's over for both of these guys. I love Brady. We kept wondering, when is Brady going to finally show his age? Well, nigga, it's here. There's a lot of things you could talk about with this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team, with offensive line is really hurt and things of that nature. And, you know, you got injuries to the receiving corps. That's true. But Tom Brady throws some bullshit too. There's no way that you should lose to the fucking Carolina Panthers, who are clearly tanking for, you know, CJ Stroud or my man Bryce out there in Alabama. You know, they're clearly tanking. Got rid of not CJ. what's my man? McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey, and they're clearly tanking. There's no way that you not only should lose them, but score 3 fucking points. It just looks nastier and nasty every week. And my man Tom Brady gave up his family, his beautiful wife, or ex-wife now, and kids for a Super Wild Card exit. I don't get it. I understand you love the game, but brother, go home. You've accomplished everything that there's ever accomplished in this game. You won 7 Super Bowl championships. That shit ain't getting broken. You've got like 4 MVPs. You got like 4 or 5 Super Bowl MVPs. You've got every passing record known to man. Go home. Now, unfortunately, he can't go home anymore because Giselle told y'all, I'm out. I've never seen a divorce get finalized that goddamn quick. That's just got to be a different level of money. So, Tom, please, brother, just let it go. Step out. I don't want to see you like this, dog. I don't want to see you out here losing to the goddamn Pittsburgh Steelers and Mr. Trubisky. I'm tired of it. Now, the other guy, I am in. Y'all don't understand like how much I hate Aaron Rodgers. I'm not just saying this. Oh, I hate him. No, I hate this guy. I hate him. I don't think he's a good human being. I do not like this man. So to see him fall so epically, it just brings a smile to my face that y'all just don't understand. I watched every fucking second of that ass whooping that the Buffalo Bills handed them on Sunday night. Josh Allen threw 2 picks. It was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck. We still gonna beat y'all. And just to see him yelling at wide receivers, see him seeing how hard the game is when you don't have actual NFL caliber wide receivers throw to. It's like, where have I seen that before? And it's another thing that he is getting away with, the throwing out of bounds to protect his stats, which I've been yelling for years. And everybody was like, oh, you just don't like him. No, I'm finally glad the entire world is seeing what I'm seeing. And to sit here on this day that we have the same fucking record. We have the same fucking record. We gonna be going home at the same time, baby. At the same time. He ain't won a Super Bowl since Obama's first year in office, and he ain't gonna see another one. I love it. I feel bad for fans in the AFC West who have to deal with that light-skinned motherfucker Patrick Mahomes for the next 15 years. My bid with Aaron Rodgers is almost over. My shit is over. Like, when I don't know this, I've never been to jail, thank God. But somebody go to jail and they start cross down the days. Well, I get to see my family and get out on this day. I'm very close to not have to worry about Aaron Rodgers ever the fuck again. You think I'm losing sleep at night, nigga, about fucking Kirk Cousins? No, I'm not whatsoever fucking ever. So I am happy to see Aaron Rodgers fail so dramatically, and I want to see it continue. I want to see it continue at an amazing level. So I need Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady to go home. They are officially cooked. Another storyline, especially this week, Dan Snyder is trolling y'all. I know a lot of people was getting excited about the news that the Snyders are going to have hired Chase Bank to potentially think about selling the team. And I see a lot of Commander fans out there. Shout out my guy Nick, who were like, "Oh man, it's gonna be fun to root for watch the Commanders games. We don't have this piece of fucking shit as our owner." Let me tell y'all right now, if y'all know anything about Daniel Snyder, this dude, he's not a good person. And he's trolling y'all. I believe he's gonna sell part of the team. I think he's gonna give a big fuck you to the rest of the owners box who wants him out of here. Like, I'm gonna sell 5%. And I'm gonna get some money off of this, and you motherfuckers gonna have to still deal with me and see me at all these damn owners meetings. There's no way. And I know we see the different potential buyers popping up. Byron Allen, black man. It'll be nice to see a black owner. First black owner in football. I would love to see that. See him be a potential buyer. We see Jeff Bezos wants to get into it. We see Hove. Hove is putting his name in the ring to potentially buy the Commanders. I understand all that. This man does not give a fuck. I think he is using this as a way to just increase his capital even more and to give a bigger fuck you to the owners. I would be actually stunned if he sells this entire team because it just doesn't go the way we know Daniel Snyder to do things. It's not the way he does or conducts his business or his shitty ass life. So I would be stunned, and I think everybody should put the pom-poms away until we get the official notice from Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, that he's officially selling the whole team. I'm not buying it. I think he's going to sell 5 to 10% of it, kick his feet up, and buy another fucking yacht. That's what I think is going to happen. Number 2, another thing I've loved this week, and I love being right about things. Shout out my guy Waz. He has a quote that he told me one time. Life is about being right. It really is. I love being right. And I told y'all that Justin Fields was the most talented quarterback and was going to show the most out of these young quarterback class who was drafted in 2021, which includes Trevor Lawrence, which includes Zach Wilson, which includes Mac Jones, which includes Trey Lance. Now, Mac Jones had a pretty good year last year. He looks ass this year. Trey Lance, we don't even know what Trey Lance is going to be yet because he hasn't had the opportunity to play. He only played a couple games last year when Jimmy G was hurt, and then he got hurt in the second game of the season this year. He's going to miss all this year. Even though I have eyes, and my eyes tell me never trust project quarterbacks. And I don't think he's going to be good, but you still got to wait till that pans out. Zach Wilson is looking terrible. Trevor Lawrence is looking terrible. Here's the problem that I have. I want some consistency from the national media when it comes to how we're covering these quarterbacks. When Justin Fields throws a pick, oh, nigga, it's all over the damn Sports Center. You got an open wide receiver cam on Monday Night Football. You're talking about what's he doing? Should the Bears go get another quarterback in the draft? He's the worst thing. And what are we really doing? Maybe Mr. Trubisky wasn't as bad. And all these little different narratives that we throw out there. Now, I get it. The Chicago Bears are the charter franchise of the NFL. They're going to get more coverage than a team in Jacksonville or the B team in New York or things of that nature. I understand that, but I want some consistency. Did y'all watch the game this past Sunday with the Broncos and the Jacksonville Jaguars? You could have watched the game before that or the game before that where Trevor Lawrence is throwing all these damn interceptions. I don't see no screenshots on Twitter. I don't see no fucking open wide receiver cam on ESPN. Well, maybe he shouldn't have thrown it to Christian Kirk because Buddy ass was open over here. We don't see none of that. But it only happens with Justin Fields. And I'm not saying I'm giving up on any of these young quarterbacks. I'm a big Trevor Lawrence guy. I love Trevor Lawrence. I have no problem with Trevor Lawrence going number 1 in the draft. I think that Justin Fields should have went number 2. And I think that there's a chance for him to get better as well as Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson looks bad right now. He looks god-awful. Like the Jets have been a surprise this season. They've been playing well. They're 5-3. But their quarterback is holding them back. They lost that game to the Patriots because of Zach Wilson. I don't hear nothing. Where's the coverage of how bad he's been? All I'm asking is for equal opportunity slander here. I'm not taking anything off of the mistakes Justin has made. I've been very vocal about that. If you listen to 79th and House, if you watch this show, I have not been a Justin Fields biased person. I call it like it fucking is. He's had his mistakes, but so have these dudes. I just want equal coverage. Now, I get that these dudes have the complexion for protection. I understand when you're a black quarterback in a major market, you're going to get more of the shit. But I just want us to have some at least somewhat equal coverage. That's all I'm asking for moving forward. And my number one observation from week 8, ladies and gentlemen, the Seattle Seahawks are legit. Pete Carroll was right. I sat up on this show about a year ago, and I said if the owner of the Seahawks choose Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson, he will be a fucking idiot. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the real fucking idiot because that looks like a marvelous decision. I don't know what the hell Russell Wilson called himself doing this season, but it ain't football. And the Seahawks, they look like they're having more fun. Geno Smith, man, is there a better story in football right now than Geno Smith? He's been amazing. He looks like the comeback player, most improved player of this season. They're 5-3, and they're looking legit. They're on top of the NFC West. And I love everything they're seeing. The defense is showing up. The running game's been great. The play calling has been great. And you just see like the subtle comments from Pete Carroll and, guys who are in the Seahawks when Russell Wilson be like, well, it feels better when you're not having one guy taking all the shine. It's more fun when it's not just about one guy. It's little subtle shots. And Pete Carroll's basically up there like, hey, I told y'all motherfuckers, I'm the real dude behind the show. Y'all thought it was him, but it was me. So it's a huge redemption arc for Pete Carroll, huge redemption arc for the Seattle Seahawks. No, the season's not over. The 49ers can come back and win this division for sure. Even though the Rams on life support, they're not out of it yet. So this division is far from over, but I love what I'm seeing from this team. And we also forget Geno Smith was doing well in New York with the Giants before he left. We know the whole little situation over there where they were trying to force feed Eli Manning on the field so he can actually retire as a starter. But I'm loving that he's getting the actual opportunity here, and I love this team believes in him. I love what the Seattle Seahawks are doing, man. So those are my observations from week 8 heading into week 9. Now, as we head into week 9, which starts off tonight, Thursday Night Football, I don't know if it's in Philly or in Houston, but it's Philly and Houston. It's gonna be a god awful game. I'm not even watching. But week 9 starts tonight, so it's time for my weekly power rankings as we go from 10 through 9. At number 10, I've got the New York Football Giants. I'm still not a believer in this team in the grand scheme of things. I still do think that they're hustling backwards. I think they need to be trying to get one of these young quarterbacks in the draft because Daniel Jones ain't it. At the same time, I give everything they're doing over there with their coaching staff and being able to coach around and doing the things that they want to do to be the team better. Brian Daboll is not putting uh Daniel Jones in situations where he can fuck up. Now he's not throwing a lot of yards because he's trash, but you're able to go through the running game. You got a great defense and they play together, the discipline. And they're in the NFC, which is pretty much the JV league of the NFL, and they're right there in that playoff chase. They just had another win. I'm going to put the New York Giants. Actually, no, they lost. They lost to the Seahawks, but I'm still going to keep them at the number 10 seed, and number 10 on my power rankings. Number 9, I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. Got a nasty win last Thursday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road, but it was a game that they needed. Now they've got the addition of Roquan Smith. They are number 1 in the AFC North. And that's to be a division that I think they should win. The Bengals have been mediocre this year. Now they've got Jamar Chase out for the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think it is. The Cleveland Browns had a big win this week to save their season. They're just trying to stay afloat until Nasty Man can play in week 13. But I think the Ravens, this is their division to lose, and I think the addition of Roquan Smith is just going to even bolster that defense. And I liked what I saw from him last week, getting the win against Tampa Bay on the road. So I'm going to go with the Ravens in number 9. Number 8, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. They are currently second in the NFC West. Nice little beatdown this past Sunday at SoFi, pretty much taking the Rams chain. And it's just always funny when you watch games at SoFi and they play teams like, with big fan bases, like the Niners or the Raiders or the Cowboys or the Bears or the Packers, and they've got 75% of the crowd is not Rams fans. It's always hilarious to me. It sounded like fucking Levi Stadium up in there this week, but a big win. Christian McCaffrey looked amazing this last Sunday, and I feel like that's a trade that even though they gave up a lot, if Christian McCaffrey's healthy, it's a trade that's worth it. They're one of the teams in the mix for Odell Beckham, and I think this is going to be a nice little race between them and Seattle, man. So I like what I'm seeing with San Francisco so far. At number 7 is the team I just talked about, the Seattle Seahawks. Man, they're making their debut on my power rankings. 5-3, looking good. They've got a game this weekend against the Arizona Cardinals where they can even strengthen their lead in the division. Geno Smith has been amazing. Running game has been great. I have nothing but positive things to say. They are number 7. Number 6, this team had a bye week last week, but they won the week before that. I'm going with the Miami Dolphins, man. They just got Bradley Chubb. Like I mentioned earlier, they're going up against the beloved, the Bears, this weekend at Soldier Field. That should be another win. Obviously, love everything they're doing offensively. Tua, of course, it's gonna take a minute before he's back to being Tua because of the concussion we all saw him have, obviously. But I just love everything they're doing right there, and I think they've got an opportunity where they're not going to win this division because Buffalo's going to run away with it, but they can go out there and strengthen their position as one of the wild card teams and be able to host them a playoff game. And I just love it. I feel like football is better when you got some of these historical teams that are good. And I just love seeing the Miami Dolphins good. It's been maybe 20-something years since they've been good. And so I feel like they've got a little stretch of games coming up where they can really, have some distance between them and the next team in the standings. So I'm going to go with Miami at number 6. Now we go to my top 5. Let me be very clear about this next team that I'm going to name. I do not believe in this team whatsoever. I don't give a damn that they're 6-1. But I had to put this on the list. The Minnesota Vikings, they're leading the NFC North by like 2.5 games on the Packers and the Bears. The offense looks pretty good. Kevin O'Connell is doing a good job in his first year as head coach. And Kirk Cousins is still Kirk Cousins, and that goes back to my number 1 point. Yes, they add T.J. Hockenson from Detroit, which is going to bolster their offense even more. You got another complimentary player to add to Dalvin Cook, to add to Jonathan Jefferson. The defense has been great. The pass rush has been amazing. They've got all the things that you want in a team. If they had any other quarterback, I might believe in them. But Kirk Cousins giveth and Kirk Cousins taketh away. I don't think that come playoff time, they're going to do shit because Kirk Cousins is their quarterback. Now, in the regular season, Kirk Cousins is enough to do what they're going to do. The Bears aren't going to make this a race. The Packers aren't going to make this a race. So they should be able to clinch the NFC North, or I think at least 2 or 3 weeks before the season ends. But they're having a good season. They're 6-1, so I can't justify not having them on the list. You know I don't believe in them in the grand scheme of things. So I'm putting the Minnesota Vikings at number 5. Number 4, going with them Cowboys, man. Dallas Cowboys, they put their foot all up in the Bears defense ass on Sunday. Dak looked good. Tony Pollard, big game for Tony Pollard with Ezekiel Elliott missing the game. They're right there. I know, they're the third in division right now behind the Giants and behind the Eagles, who are just running away with everything. And I think will be 8-0 by the end of the night. But hey man, some of these Eagles Cowboys game, the last Eagles Cowboys game is gonna be good. We got another Giants Cowboys game is gonna be good too. And I think that another team were similar to Miami, that even though they're probably gonna be a wild card team, they've got a legit threat, man. I love what I'm seeing from the Cowboys. I think that's the best defense in football. And another reason why I don't feel bad that the Bears got the ass whooped, because Justin Fields threw 3 touchdowns against the best defense in football. So I feel good about that. So I'm gonna put the Dallas Cowboys at number 4. My top 3 has not changed, people. Number 3, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. They had another big win this past week. Had a win against the Niners the week before. Patrick Mahomes looking like an MVP candidate. They just got a great deal from one of the New York Giants. They got another wide receiver coming into the fold. I love what I've been seeing from that defense. And, one thing that's different about this offense compared to last year, I feel like last year was a lot of Tyreek Hills down there. Of course, Travis Kelce doing what Travis Kelce does, but now you've got a more spread offense and all the guys getting involved, man. Some Kansas City stays at number 3. Number 2, I know it's funny that we got a team that's going to be 8-0. That's number 2 on my list, but this is my list, so fuck you. The Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFC by a wide margin. I think they're going to beat the hell out of the Houston Texans tonight, and they'll be 8-0 in the season. They stay at number 2 again. And I don't think that they're going to move from number 2 unless this team that I have at number 1 takes a dramatic fall. For the 9th week in a row, my number 1 team is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks ago had a nice win against Kansas City Chiefs. Coming off that bye week this week, they pulverized Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. The defense is not about to get Tre'Davious White back. He just got activated off the IR. They just got Nyheim Hines in the trade. And the offense has just been everything that you want. It's been amazing. Josh Allen, to me, is the runaway MVP favorite right now. Stephon Diggs has been doing this, been incredible. They're just a juggernaut. And I've never seen, I can't remember the last Super Bowl favorite who was this dominant and actually lived up to the hype. You could say the 07 Patriots, but even then, there was question marks about Randy Moss because of his production in Oakland. We didn't know if he was still the same Randy Moss. So there were still questions with that. They're living up to the Bills tremendously, and they're being the team that's coming to every stadium and trying to kick your ass. So for the 9th week in a row, it is the Buffalo Bills, man. So that is my power rankings. Let's get into our week 9 preview, man. Let's get into my top 3 must-watch games this week. This week's schedule is kind of mid. Not going to lie to y'all, so I did my best to give the games that I think would be the most noteworthy. My number 3 must-watch game of the week is Buccaneers and Rams. That will be in Tampa Bay, a rematch of last year's NFC divisional round. The reason I have this on here because these are 2 underachieving teams, 2 teams that are having a hard time scoring points. The problem with the Rams is the offensive line sucks. Something's got to give here. Both of these teams desperately need a win. Desperately need a win. So I feel like just because there's so much desperation as we're, pretty much at the halfway mark of the season, both teams need to win dramatically. So I expect this one to go to the wire. I don't expect a very high scoring game, but this is going to be a game that's going to be pretty good. I'm going to go Bucks Rams at number 3. Number 2, Bills Jets. This is going to be a good one. Because the Jets are a hard-nosed team, they stay in the game. This is a game where you need Zach Wilson to put his big boy pants on. Because you know what the hell Joshua Allen is going to do. You know what Stephon Diggs is going to do. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of how many times they're going to do it. So you need Zach Wilson to put his big boy pants on and do what the fuck he's supposed to do and understand, show people why the Jets drafted him so hard. I'm not worried about the Jets defense. They're going to come ready to play. I know Sauce Gardner is going to be ready to play. I know the rest of that team is going to be ready to play. All the spotlight and eyes are on Zach Wilson because as a young quarterback, you got to show flashes. Like, you ain't got to be good every week because you're a young quarterback. You're going to look amazing one week and you might look ass the next week. You got to see flashes. I've seen no flashes from Zach Wilson this week, and I need to see that this week in this big game. Number one must watch game of the week is this week's Sunday Night Football. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Tennessee Titans, which have bounced back from a very poor start. Derrick Henry still a monster, still the best running back in football. They've done pretty well. They've been able to fortify their lead in a mediocre AFC South, to say the least. And I keep saying on the show every week, regulate the AFC South. They should not be on fucking TV. So I'm gonna go with that as my number one must-watch game this week. Now we get into our sneaky good games. I'm gonna go with Seahawks Cardinals, mainly because the Cardinals are just a very up and down team. You never know what the fuck you're gonna get from this team week in and week out. This is a big game for Seattle, so Seattle will be able to make some even bigger distance between them and the 49ers. But it's division games can go either way. So I'm gonna have this as a sneaky good game right here. Number two, Packers Lions. The Packers have lost 5 in a row now, 4 in a row, 5 in a row, something like that. They're gonna be back home at Lambeau going against Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions blew a 27-7 lead last week to the Miami Dolphins. And you know, the defense, to say their defense would be bad is just it's understatement. It's terrible. But this is gonna be a game because if the Packers can't beat the fucking Lions, it's worse than even I thought, man. So they need this win desperately, man. So I think this one, I think it's gonna be close. I really do. I think it's gonna go down to the wire, man. So I'm gonna go with Packers Lions as number two. Number one sneaky good game is the NFC South leading Atlanta Falcons. Yes, who the hell thought we would see, you would hear those words come out of my mouth in week 9 that the NFC South is led by the Atlanta Falcons. By the way, shout out to Brian and Jared, the host of King's Landing, which is the Atlanta Falcons centric podcast on the Barber's Chair Network right now. So you might want to check them out. They're going to be hosting this. I almost called them San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers, Justin Herbert, everybody over there. The Chargers offense does not look good. They partially because Justin Herbert's ribs are still crushed. But just from a play calling perspective, I haven't liked what I've seen. This is a game that they desperately need to get off, you know, the schneid. You know, everybody thought that the AFC West was going to be so great. I thought it was going to be the best in the division in football. Boy, it is nowhere near. Nowhere near. So they need to win this one. And the Falcons want to keep padding that lead and just hope that Tom Brady don't raise his arm out the fucking grave and come out and try to take this division, man. So those are my sneaky good games. Now we're going to go into my predictions, man. I currently have a record of 69, 38, and 1. I did not have any predictions last week. Obviously, weren't on the air, but week 7, I went 12 and 2. My best numbers of the season. So let's get into this week's games. Starting off tonight, the game is in Philadelphia. So starting off tonight, Eagles at the crib. 2 big games in Philly tonight. Eagles, Texans, Thursday Night Football in Game 5 of the World Series, which I'll get into in a minute. Eagles, Texans, Thursday Night Football. Don't even turn on your fucking fire stick for this one. This game is going to be over in the first. It's going to be a landslide. Eagles will win this one and go 8-0 for the first time in franchise history. Falcons and Chargers. Like I just said, it's one of my sneaky good game. I think that both teams need a win here. But I believe more in what the Falcons are selling right now than the Chargers. They're going to be at the crib. I'm going to go with the Falcons. Dolphins, Bears. As usual, I give my score on the 79th and Hollis preview pod, which will be dropping this weekend as we preview Dolphins and Bears. But the Dolphins are winning this football game. Let's not kid ourselves, people. The Miami Dolphins are going to win this football game in Soldier Field. I don't give a damn. I want to know what the offense looks like. If we get a couple Justin Fields or Clay Claypool touchdowns, I don't give a damn. But that's why I got Dolphins winning them. Bengals, Panthers. Panthers play hard even though they're tanking. The Bengals should be ashamed of themselves for the performance they put on this past week in Monday Night Football in the dog pound against the Cleveland Browns. Man, it's really a criminal what that front office is doing, not protecting Joe Burrow. But I think to be able to score enough points to win this one, I'm going to go with the Bengals over the Panthers. Packers and Lions, like I mentioned on my sneaky good games. I'm not both teams, but the Packers really, really need this win. I do think they're going to get it. I think it's going to be something that's going to go down to wire, maybe even be decided by Mason Crosby field goal. I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers this week over the Lions. Patriots, Colts, a game that's another nasty game. Mac Jones versus who? I don't even know who the hell the Colts starting quarterback is. Don't waste your time. I don't think this is going to be shown on red zone at all because I don't expect these two teams to be in the red zone much. But that having said that, I'm going to go with the Pats over the Colts. Bills, Jets. Like I said, time for Zach Wilson to put his big boy pants on. But let's be real. I'm not expecting to put them pants on. You ain't expecting to put them pants on. I'm expecting another big victory for the Buffalo Bills if they're gonna win this one. Vikings, Commanders. Commanders are terrible. It's just not a good team. And the Vikings have been running rough shit over a lot of teams, man. So I'm gonna go with the Vikings. They're gonna move to 7-1. Raiders and Jaguars. Man, the Raiders. Look, man. Like I thought I had the Raiders as my wild card team when we did our preview. Whoo, boy, this team is stanky. But the Jaguars are maybe worse stanky. So I'm gonna go with the Raiders in this one at the crib. Seahawks, Cardinals. I got the Seahawks. They'll be at home. They should be able to go 6-3 on this week, get a win because I think Kyler Murray is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL, and Cliff Kingsbury should be on LinkedIn looking for a new job instead of having a contract extension. But that just happens when you have white privilege. But I digress. I got the Seattle Seahawks winning this one. Bucks and the Rams. I'm gonna pick the Bucks just because it's just like I have no actual football reason for picking the Bucks, but it's kind of the same thing I said to Packers. They need a win. Tom, you need a win. The divorce got finalized this week, my man. Show us something, brother. Show us something. So I'm just gonna say that the Bucks are gonna win. I have no confidence in this pick whatsoever, but I'm gonna pick the Bucks this week. Chiefs Titans Sunday Night Football. The problem here for the Titans is they have Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback, and he can't throw the ball downfield consistently. I won't say it's gonna be an easy win for the Chiefs, but I do think the Chiefs will win this one by double digits. And then Monday Night Football, you got Ravens and Saints in Baltimore. The Saints just announced that Michael Thomas we placed on IR with a foot injury, and the coach Allen says he doesn't expect him to play the rest of the season. That's not good for them. I had them as one of my sneaky teams at the beginning of the year. I was wrong, but the Ravens are going to win this one, man. So that's what I've got for my week 9 picks. Now let's get into our last topic before I go to my goofy mog of the week. World Series, baby. The World Series Game 5 is tonight in the city of brotherly love at Chase Bank Stadium. So we got Justin Verlander is going to be on the mound tonight against Thor, Noah Syndergaard, in a big game. This is a best of 3 series, 2-2. You know the stat in every sport when it has series, which is the NFL. I mean, not NFL, but the MLB and the NBA. The winner of Game 5 in a 2-2 series in the World Series and in the NBA Finals goes on to win the series 70% of the time. So this is a massive game. It has been an incredible series so far. Game 1, who can forget about the Astros blowing that 5-0 lead, having a big game from JT Realmuto, that game-saving play by Nick Castellanos in the outfield. They had a big win, won that one. Game 2, the bats got active for the Astros. They were able to tie it in Game 2. Man, Lance McCullers had to be tipping his pitches. There's no other explanation for that performance he put up the other night. They were teeing off on him, 7-0 win for the Phillies. 5 home runs. And Bryce Harper is just having a generational postseason. Kyle Schwarber is having an amazing postseason. And just the Phillies have just been offensively great. But then last night, let's be very clear, I don't think that combined no-hitters should be a thing. I think that's cheating. I don't think that should count whatsoever. But holding a team as offensively potent as the Philadelphia Phillies have been in this postseason to not just no runs, but no fucking hits in a World Series game is pretty notable. So they won that one. Big performance by that whole pitching staff last night. Clutch hitting by Alex Bregman. So that's going to be in Yuri Gurriel. So now we got a 2-2 series. This one will be heading back to H-Town on Saturday. This tonight, one thing we all love in sports is legacy games. This is a legacy game for Mr. Justin Verlander. Now, I don't think Game 1 was Justin Verlander's fault. I blame the defense for that one more than anything. But if we look at his history, now we're going to pull out the stats, the Nito stat of the day, they like to say on Inside the NBA. Justin Verlander, in 8 career World Series starts, is 0-6 with the ERA of 6.07. This is a game where he needs to show everybody. Now, we all know he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't like the guy whatsoever, him and Kate Upton, but he is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But tonight, you can stamp your legacy as a guy who performs when it matters. And this thing by Houston, This is a big game for Houston because they want to prove to everybody that it don't matter that we cheated in 2017. Y'all still can't beat us. And you don't want to lose to a team that was the last team getting in the playoffs. You don't want to lose to another NL East team. That's all they fucking do is lose the NL East teams in the World Series. That this would be the third one if it happens. So you need to go out there and dominate from the stretch and put out this performance. But also the Houston Astros offense, with the lineup has only been batting 230 this postseason, which is not good and not something we expect from an offensive lineup that's as potent as the Houston Astros. I need to see more from Yordan Alvarez. And he had a great start to the playoffs with that big home run against Seattle. He had a nice hit last night. Hopefully that gets him going. You need him to step up. You need Jose Altuve to step up. I'm not expecting Noah Syndergaard to do much. He's only pitched 5 innings in this postseason, so I'm pretty sure they're going to have him on very short leash, and you want to get to him before you have to deal with that Philadelphia bullpen. Having said all that, I picked Houston in 7 games to begin this series. I'm not wavering. I do think that they will win tonight. I think Justin Verlander will have a big game. I think it'll be a lot of clutch hits from this Houston Astro team. But that's just my baseball analysis. One thing you can't break down is destiny. And the Philadelphia Phillies have looked like a team of destiny this entire postseason. So they very well could win tonight also. But either way, I see these teams splitting the next 2 games. And I think this championship will be decided Sunday night in Houston in a Game 7. I would love to see that. We haven't had a Game 7 in the World Series in, I think it was 5 years ago. I think it was the Astros and the Dodgers. I'll never forget that. Yeah, it was a hilarious day the next day when I went to work with all my Dodger fan homies, co-workers who were very depressed at that ridiculous performance by Yu Darvish. But I got the Astros tonight, and I got them winning this series in 7, man. We're going to wrap this up with my Goofy Mog of the week. This one, man, the Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to give this to the Brooklyn Nets in general. This is a shameless organization. Top to bottom. Shameless organization. I'm not going to divulge more into, the Kyrie Irving shit as much. Y'all know how I feel about that shit. The dude's a fucking idiot. I mean, he had his press conference day where you just went up there for 6 minutes and just doubled down on, like, all the stupid shit he was saying. And the man said, "You heard of the Oxford Dictionary." Like, dude, it's just... I don't know what else to say about dude. He's a clown. And let's be very clear. We can call people idiots. I never like to do this thing. We're in this era where you shouldn't say that. You shouldn't call somebody. You got to call a spade a spade. Dude's a fucking idiot. It is what it is, man. He just goes up there and just be saying shit and don't even defend the shit he's saying. Like he went up there the other day when he was interviewed by Nick Friedel and got all defensive. If you're going to put up something, you should on your Twitter, and you're a figure, whether you want to be one or not. You are a figure, and there's a lot of people who look up to you, unfortunately. You've been in the league for over a decade now. You're a veteran. You have to explain stuff. So, yes, when you're posting stuff, by default, you're promoting it. And he's like one of those people who, you start making fun of them and they get wild defensive. And he's just getting wild defensive and not answering questions. But despite besides the Kyrie shit, Kevin Durant asking for his trade in the offseason after the Nets gave him everything he didn't fucking ask for. Now you got the situation where the Ime Udoka thing, he should be probably officially announced as the coach by the end of this day, probably at the worst tomorrow, according to Woj. Now, more stuff we learned about Ime Udoka since the last time we talked about him. From all accounts, it was a consensual thing. Apparently, he just had sex with one of the higher-ups in the Boston Celtics organization. It's not a crime. He's just a freak bull. That's all it is. Not a crime. He's just a freak bull. He has done this in other organizations. So, yes, by just that, I don't have a problem with him getting another opportunity. And I do feel that from a basketball perspective, I love the hiring. He's a great coach. He led the Celtics to the NBA Finals last year. We heard from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum this year how much they miss him. I think he can help the Brooklyn Nets. I think he can help them at least attempt to play defense. I think he can try to get something out of Ben Simmons because he's on that coach staff in Philadelphia when Ben was there. I think he'll be able to help this team. But the Nets are shameless, bro. Like, how do you go from dealing with the Kyrie situation terribly, might I add, not just him, the NBA in general was there. I don't know. It's like Adam Silver woke up. It's like, hey, I am the commissioner. Let me do something about this. Like you thought a guy like Kyrie was gonna just wake up one day. You know what? I'm wrong. let me go up there and admit I was wrong. He should be suspended. If they did, when Miles Leonard or whatever Leonard, I don't even know. There's so many members of the Leonard family in the NBA. I don't know which one it was, but he went up there. He got suspended for those comments. Say she's happy with Kyrie. Like, you got to do something about the situation. So not just the Nets, but the entire NBA has fumbled this Kyrie Irving situation. But now you're gonna add even more bad publicity to your team by hiring Ime Udoka. And just at the speed it happened, it went from, oh yeah, on Tuesday, oh yeah, Steve Nash is fired. Oh yeah, Jacque Vaughn's gonna fill in tonight against the Bulls. Till like 30 minutes later, don't be surprised if the Brooklyn Nets interview Ime Udoka. And if you wait a couple 30 minutes later, I think they're going to interview Ime Udoka. He's high on that list. Hour later, we get a report from Woj. He's expected to be announced as the new coach of the Brooklyn Nets. All that stuff just happened so damn fast. And from an optics perspective, it just looks nasty. And then you go up there and the owner's like, oh, well, I don't really know, not really giving the actual answer to the stuff. I'll respect him more if you went up there like, look, I don't give a damn about nothing but winning. Be honest with it. And the way the PR has been moving, cutting off the Kyrie press conference, not having it available to the media as they lost to the Bulls. And now, if you think today was funny with that Kyrie Irving press conference, just you wait next week to the introductory press conference with Ime Udoka. That shit is going to be an entire level of comedy. And I just don't understand how the Brooklyn Nets have just fumbled everything. From the beginning of acquiring Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they went from just being one of the most unlikable teams in the NBA. And I'm a big Kevin Durant guy. But I'm at the point right now, I'm tired of KD. Like, okay, we get it, dude. You just like hooping. But what's the other shit that comes with this? Like, you can't demand a trade when you the one wanted Steve Nash in the first place. I think it was like a year and a half ago, whenever the hell Steve Nash was hired. I don't even remember how long ago he was hired. And him and Kyrie's like, we don't need no coach. And now you got all this situation here, man. So I'm going to give my goofy mark of the week to the Nets. Just, man, how could you – I can't think of anybody going to fumble a situation worse than they just did. And it's just been terrible for them. They're not a good basketball team. I'm glad the Bulls won. I'd have been so mad if they lost the game to a team that's in flux like them. But just bad. Just overall bad for the Brooklyn Nets. And I wish them nothing but pain moving forward, man. But we're going to wrap this up. This is another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, man. I once again appreciate all y'all for tuning in on this show. You know to follow me on Twitter at BarbChairScott on Twitter and Instagram. Follow H&B Media at H&B Media on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. Follow the Barbershare Network at BarberschairNet on Twitter and Instagram. Visit thebcnet.com, patreon.com/Barbershare Network. Subscribe now. The Barbershare Shop is on the way. I'll holler at y'all next week, man. We out.
Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna